Alright, what I have here is some math that I'm going to walk through and see how it changes, and I'll show you how I get there. I drew the original bike, rudimentary as it is and not to scale. For these purposes, where's my pencil? Maybe I'll get a pointer. Please bear with me. Alright, this is point A, point B, point C, point D, and point E. I have angle K, angle J, and an angle I. What I did was measure the fork. This is the fork of the original bike, line B to E, and that turned out to be 27.5 inches. I also measured from E to D with a level and a tape measure, and that came out to be 36 inches. I measured from A to B, or the ground, which should be up here, but from A to B, and that was 11.5 inches. So with my 36 minus my 11.5, this line would be would result at the same place. So this is my 11.5, this is my 36. So subtracting that, E to C is 24.5 inches calculated. It's hard to measure such. So I have those written down over here. Now what I wanted to find was B to C. So I took the Pythagorean theorem and subbed in what I had. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 24.5, and you can see the math there. This is a 600.25, which gave me 56, and ultimately resulted in 12.489, which is just about 12.5 inches. These are just rough figures for this. So B to C equals 12.5. That's important, just so I can compare the original bike to the custom build. Now, to find these angles, if this was straight up, which I did with a level, and this was straight up, right? And this obviously would create some right angles here. So this is 90, or angle K equals 90, which I have written down below. I'll show you in a moment. I would like to find J and I. So using these formulas here, here's my 90, the angle I, which is right there, to find that, I'm going to go sine, which is my opposite, over my hypotenuse, or 24.5 over 27.5, which results in 0.8909, which will bring you to 62.987 or 63 degrees. And then the reverse of that, or my cosine of J, or if I wanted to sub in other things I could, but again, the same thing, 27 degrees. 27 plus 63 is 90, plus my other 90, I get my 180 degrees on my triangle, which means that the angle up here, which is important to me later on, is 27 or so degrees, this angle. Now I took this over to my next bike, the one that I'd like to build. This one is going to have a drop in the rear from 335 millimeters to 300 millimeters, which, as you can see, my scratch up here is equal to about 1.378 inches. That drop, and you divide the millimeters by 25.4 and you'll get the inches. So that's my drop. So now, and I messed this up when I was writing, I take my 36 and subtract my 1.378, and I get my 34.62 calculated. I still have my 11.5 because I want to keep this the same so that it is level with the rear of the bike, which I did not draw. Okay, but the axle points, seeing how they're the same size wheel, are going to be in the same spot. So I'm going to keep my 11.5. I'm also going to keep this length of 27.5 so I don't have to mess with the forks. And this whole length of 34.62 minus this other length of, what was it, 11.5 results in 23.62 for this length here, not drawn to scale. 23.62 plus 11.5 equals my 34.62, if I said that correctly. Alright, so subbing these numbers in to my Pythagorean theorem, sorry about the shakiness of this, left-handed of course, I always am and always shaky, regardless, I get, again, my same thing, subtract out, I do this, and I ultimately end up at 14.89 for the distance between B and C. This will result in this drop of roughly 1.5 inches, or 1.378 inches, will result in extending my axle point out 2.39 inches. So the original axle point would be, if this were, say, drawn to scale, would be about here, and I've moved the wheel 2 inches or so that way, about 2.5 inches for a 1.5 inch drop, if this is all correct. Now, to find my angles, my angle K is still 90, so I've done my sine and my cosine, and when I work that out, it's 57 degrees, I know it's hard to read, and 33. So this angle up here is going to be 33 degrees, and that's my 90, and this is 57. So my original 27 is now 33, so I'm going to rake it out, if that's the way that it's said, 6 degrees. I'm going to result in a 1.5 inch drop, or 1.378 or 1.4 inch drop, and move my wheel out about 2.5 inches or so, 2.39 inches. What I'm asking largely of you, Mitch, if you're willing to do it, and if I can find somebody else, that's good, is this section right here on the bike, which I know is difficult, but right where these, this would be the upper part of the clamp. This is my top bolt to fill it with oil. I know it's not drawn really that well. The light's right here. And then my triple trees. I wanted to see if maybe I could, oh, this doesn't have anything. I wanted to see if maybe I could take this, line, change the degree from say a 90 to 6 degrees back, say an 84 degree, cut this chunk out, throw it away in the trash, then take this part and weld it to this part so that I've merged the two together, slid it over, if you will, which will result in this being swung out on the new bike to where I would like it. Can that be done?